Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Please do not mind the background noise. So we're just going to get right into the video, first of all by drawing a straight line like so. And in most of my videos I've shown how to fold fabric in case you want to sew anything. And in this case we're starting with the bottom of the gown, which is the skirt part. So we're just going to calculate the widest part of the skirt, which is the hip like so, and just adjust our material to fit into the allowance and the initial measurements. So we're just going to start from the end and the measurements, which is the length is 40 inches. That's 39 plus 1 inch allowance, making it 40. So we're just going to start from 40 all the way down to the half cut, which is going to be the waist. Okay, and that's going to be 16 as standard measurement. So 40, which is the initial length from 1, that's from the beginning, that's from the bust, okay, to 16, which is the waist. Just mark it like we're doing like so. Just make that line straight right there. And now we're gonna start from 1 inch, okay, to calculate our hip line, which is going to be 9 inches. Okay, we're just going to go on ahead now to mark that out. Remember, we're making a gown and there's two parts in the gown, which is the upper part and the bottom half of the gown, which we're doing right now, the bottom half. Okay guys, and the bottom half usually starts from the half cut, which is 16, down to the main length of the gown itself, which is 40 inches in this case. Okay, so we're just going to extend that hip line like so. And now we're going to input our measurements. All right, and then add your 1 inch or 1.5 inch allowance, whichever one you want to use, but I made use of 1.5 inch allowance just to be on the safer side. And for the hip, we'll have 10.75 plus our 1.5 inch allowance like so. And now we're just going to join these lines together. So now for the bottom of the gown, we can choose to go ahead and measure the knee of whichever person you're sewing for, or you can just take out a few inches from your hip measurements. Okay guys, whichever one you choose to do basically. So I made use of 9 inches and then just adding our 1.5 inch allowance right there. Now we're going to extend those lines real quick. So now guys, we can choose to draw our dart or we can just extract from it, but we'll be going in by basically half measurements. That's our nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2, and we have 4 in this case, and then we're going to drop it down by 5 inches and then just draw a straight line from these 2 points right here. Okay, and now I'm just going on ahead to cut out our pieces. So now guys, for the back piece, the only difference between the back and the front is we're going to be adding a zipper allowance, which is 1.25 inches. Okay, 2.5 for the joining and then 1 inch for fixing our zipper. Okay guys, so this is everything for the back piece. We're just going to cut a clone of the front piece basically. So now guys, this is it. Okay, so this is for the top of our gown guys, which is where the sweetheart neckline is going to come in. So just draw a straight line like we normally do. All right, calculate how wide you want your measurement is going to be so as to enable you fold correctly. I'm going to be using 11.75 inches including our allowances. Okay, we have 9-inch for the bust plus 1.5 inches for our allowance. Okay, so starting from the bottom as well, which is going to be the half cut, 16.5 inches. Half inches is going to be the allowance for joining it to the bottom of the gown. Okay, so from 16.5 inches we're going to mark 1 inch, of course. 1 inch, the beginning is going to be our starting point for the top. Okay guys, that's basically the shoulder, which is the starting point of any top. So we're just going to extend that line like so. Now we're going to start from 1 inch to mark our chest line, then mark our bust line too. Okay, so we're going to be using 8.5 inches for our armhole line basically, and 10 inches for our bust line. Okay, just like this. And then we're also going to mark our under bust, which is 13 inches. Now we're just going to extend those lines in order to get a straighter line. So now guys, we're going to be putting in our armpit measurements. You have to calculate the armpits divided by 2, and we have 6.5 inches, but then we're going to add half an inch as well. And then for the shoulder measurements, we have 7.5 inches, just like so. So now we're going to extend these lines together like so, and dropping down by 1 inch. This is unnecessary guys, because first of all it is off shoulder and sweetheart's neck. So we're just going to first of all mark out where our sweetheart neck is going to start from. Okay, and we're making use of 7 inches. We're making use of 6.5 inches, sorry. I'm making use of 6.5 inches for the starting point of our top. Okay, so from this point right here, we're going to curve it way higher in order to cover her bust really well, because she wanted her bust to be covered. So now on the bust line, we're going to input our measurements, which is 9 inches. That is 6 divided by 4, 9 inches plus our allowance. But then we're going to mark our nipple to nipple, which is 4 inches. That is 8 divided by 2, 4 inches. And then from the bust point, we're coming down by 1 inch. Okay, and on the under bust, we're going to come out on both sides by half an inch, just as I'm doing, and then connect these lines together like so. Half an inch on both sides on the waist as well, and then connect those lines together. And this is our dart for the front piece. This is basically a breast cut. This is how we cut a breast cut, but I'm going to do an official video on that. But for now, it is just how to get a sweetheart neck. Okay guys, so now we're going to input our waist measurements and then add the allowance from the darts, and also the sewing allowance, which is 1.5. Okay, so now we're just going to get a curve for our armhole in order to make our sweetheart neck. So we're basically going to pick a point. You can pick the center point and then just raise it up by however inch high you want the sweetheart neck to go. I made use of 1.5 inches, and then I'm just curving it now. As you can see, we're going to connect it in order to meet our armhole curve right there. So now we're going to draw our darts on the top of the bust, okay, so as to allow it to sit properly. So we're just going to extend this dart line, which is our nipple to nipple divided by 2. We're going to extend it down to the top right there, and then we're also going to go on both sides, come out on both sides by 1/2 inch, and then just connect it to the bust point right there. Okay guys, make sure that it's blended out and there are no pointy lines. We want a curve for on the bust and no pointy line. Okay, so now we're going to add the allowance from this dart to our measurements on the bust. So we have 9 inches plus 1 inch, and then our initial allowance, which is 1.5 inch, and then we're just going to connect these lines together like so. So now this is basically all for the upper part of our gown, guys. Making sure to blend that out, and then if you didn't put your allowance for sewing, which is the top, beforehand, if you didn't calculate that as well, it is better we do that now before cutting. So I just went ahead to cut because I had already calculated everything and all the suitable allowance were already added in my measurements. So now I'm just going to go on ahead to cut out the pieces, guys. So guys, this is it for the video. I realized I did not cut the back piece of the video, guys. I'm so sorry, but this is the end of the video. I went ahead to cut the arm, the sleeves rather, and then the draping because the gown had a draping on it. So thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for the next video. Love you guys. Bye.